Hello everyone and welcome to Game 4 in the series right now between Nerchio and Kaz. Game 4 taking place here on Shakura's Plateau. Nerchio spawning as the red Zerg player over here on the left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, we have Kaz spawning as the blue Terran on the bottom right hand side. So this Overlord will quickly find his opponent. Actually, not that quickly. It does take quite a bit of time for an Overlord to make his way across this map. Shakura's Plateau, a rather large map, and I believe Nerchio will be opening up with a 14 or 15 hatchery once more. Now, what will Kaz do in this particular matchup? Most likely he will be setting up that supply depot. Gonna set up that supply depot off over here. The supply depot should have enough sight range to catch that Overlord right as that Overlord does fly overhead, and this game will get underway as there we go. Second Overlord has now spawned, training up more drones, and we'll see how this game goes as the game does continue along its merry way. Now, Kaz may try to go for a fast command center, or he may try to go for a low ground or a high ground barracks, and it looks like it will be a barracks first here on Shakura's Plateau. No crazy shenanigans, no crazy greedy command center first, as he does want to be able to use mules. Meanwhile, a drone is going to make its way down over here, grow up and be a hatchery, as the drone quickly checks to see if there are any hidden proxy barracks. No hidden proxy barracks so far, as the drone now wanders across. It will come across his opponent in just a moment, as the Overlord did spot that one supply depot. Did the supply depot spot the Overlord? Perhaps it spot the shadow, but then again, it doesn't. Shadows don't really work like that here in StarCraft 2. Now Shakuras, we'll see how this all works out, as the drone going to make its way, see that there is no command center, and now spot the barracks right as it's getting completed. The drone knows it can't do very much of anything, just going to continue to wander through, spot that there are currently no Vespene geysers down, and he just needs to make sure that there is no other barracks hidden on the map. Once he knows that there are no more barracks hidden on the map anywhere else, he can be 99% sure that it is going to be a fast command center as opposed to a mass barracks marine all in. SCV now continuing to wander back down over here. It is going to grow up to be start building a command center. There we go. There's that command center now being placed down, as we see a drone holding onto a Zelnaga tower there and finally retreating back home. This one hatchery looks like it will be completed just as the drones are now going to start mining. No queens as of yet. Now training one queen, getting in some drones as well, and a second queen should be added at the main base soon. As two Marines now making the trek to control that center Zelnaga tower. Command center about halfway completed now, as we are going to get even more Marines still. We are going to get into a triple base. Wow, so Kaz playing a very, very, very fast economic game here, getting up another command center as his third building, or as his fourth building essentially, as now barracks are being placed on the front door. Kaz is going to be able to triple train up SCVs, perhaps use that triple mule effect, as Kaz is going to have a very strong economic opening, still not getting any gas whatsoever, and this is really going to hurt as Nerchio, unless he does a very, very hard push sometime soon, and he's going to really fall behind, as he doesn't have that hatchery, and he's going to really, really take a lot of damage and not be able to replenish his units nearly as quickly. The queen has taken a fair bit of damage so far, now needs to back off. It cannot miss an inject, and it does miss an inject there. And Nerchio just very upset of himself. Drones now trying to push back. In comes the queen, but the queen, very important part of the Zerg production cycle, losing four larvae now, and Nerchio may end up banking more minerals than he would like. A very, very big win for Kaz. Small victory going to turn into a large one, as Kaz now gonna upgrade this most likely to an orbital command, utilize 3 mules, and be able to train more SCVs and saturate these bases much more quickly than Nerchio would naturally expect. Marines now not trying to run away. Zerglings holding the center Zelnaga tower here, as there are triple barracks now just pumping out units. Now, based upon the location here, Kaz would be able to add tech labs to all of these barracks. Very nice just because of the location on these barracks here. He can add tech labs or reactors. This front door very much going to be walled in and protected, as we are now going into double engineering bays. So double engineering bays going into even more barracks. So he's going into a 5 barracks build, mass infantry, and without any banelings, Nerchio is definitely going to have problems, as we now see engineering bays starting the weapons, and most likely will be starting that armor upgrade as well. We should be seeing a factory if he really wants to get these upgrades that quickly, and that would make the most sense. Zerglings now attempting to take down the center rocks over here on the far side of the map. Perhaps build a hatchery here. That would be super beneficial, as Nerchio doesn't realize how far behind he is just quite yet. 36 SCVs versus 43 drones, but the additional mules definitely helping out, as Kaz calling in more mules in this game. So you can see a slight economic advantage and gas advantage for Kaz at this stage, as Nerchio is only still running off of one base or one gas. Marines now making the trek once more. This base looks like it is going to get destroyed, as the drones are over there, and Nerchio just going to be very upset at the sheer number of Marines and having no real way to deal with them. Zerglings now trying to swarm in. Drones going to come into this here as well, and the drones are now just all piling up together using that mineral pathing. Nicely done for those drones to try to stack up and get some damage onto those Marines, but the Marines so tightly grouped together that those drones weren't even able to push any of the Marines around. Roaches and a queen now making the trek over, and we'll see what's going to happen here as the units are still pulling away a decent number of Marines. 7 Marines here. Roaches should be able to finally finish this off using a bit of that stutter step still. Drones, and now a queen coming in. Finally, those Roaches finishing off those Marines, and there they go. Kill count, 5 workers killed. Taking a look, 53 drones versus 51 SCVs. Still training up a lot of SCVs here, as we are going into an armory now, getting in that reactor, and Kaz just macroing Terran very effectively. 54 SCVs, triple training SCVs, going to have level 1 weapons and armor upgrades on the engineering base. Meanwhile, also going to have the armory completed in time to start level 2 weapons upgrade, and it may be too difficult to stop, as Kaz is now attempting to land his command center here and perhaps start mining from this location. Now the rocks have the rocks have not been taken down, only down to 600 hit points. It looks like the Zergling is going to spot, no, it's not going to spot this one orbital command just quite yet. Marines finally making their way over. 2 upgrades in addition to a combat shield, as the Roaches are not really going to be able to engage here. This is going to be really bad. No banelings to be had, and mass Marines, especially with no banelings to counter, is just going to be very devastating. Oh, it looked as though that Marine is going to have a very bad day, as the Marines now stim in, going to catch some of those Roaches and those Zerglings out of position. Mass Marines, even without medevacs, dealing so much damage, especially upgraded 1-1 at this stage in the game, compared to these unupgraded Zerglings. Zerglings trying to rip through all of these SCVs. Medevac joining in on the fight, keeping up a lot of those units, and Nerchio is in trouble. 62 drones versus 63 SCVs, and another command center upgrading to an orbital command sometime shortly, as this front door no longer as strong, as we are getting into even more reactors. A lot of barracks so far, 5 barracks, a couple of factories as well. Starport not landing next to that reactor, so it is not going to be able to double train medevacs. A bit of a mistake there, and we'll see if that it causes Kaz to perhaps slip up a bit, as we now see double medevacs in the air and attempting to fly out. There's still the command center down over here, and it will catch any medevacs that try to do a quick drop, but it looks like it will be quite a roundabout drop. But the Overlord is over here as well, and Nerchio is going to spot this. So this is definitely going to be spotted. 2 medevacs there. Nerchio, if he's keeping track of the medevacs, will perhaps try to move his units off to the north sometime soon. It looks like drones are being positioned down. A queen may be out of position here, as the Zergling's is going to finish off a Marine there, and the medevacs are going to be able to unload all of that cargo. They are almost 2 upgraded, and now simply going to stim in, snipe down 1 hatchery, perhaps even 2 of them, as this queen is going to have a very bad day. Down it goes, as we now have an engagement in the center portion of the map. army composition. Slightly larger for the Zerg. 71 SCV, 69 drones. Siege tanks now in siege mode are going to offer some protection here, as it is going to be 3 bases, eventually to 4, as Kaz could start strip mining that top location. An infestation pit in a bad location here. Roaches now going to try to engage, and it looks like the medevacs are going to be able to escape. Nicely done. Fancy flying, as the infestors are finally going to be added. Infestors, they counter 2 marines instead of banelings. Siege tanks now rolling out. The siege tanks looking to perhaps find their target. Roaches are trying to run away. And now Kaz going, yeah, sure, not quite sure what is happening here or what the talk is about, as the Zerglings and the Roaches are going to push back here and now force many of those Marines to fall, as the Zergling counterattack may be effective. There's still the 2 medevacs that we have to keep track of at the 3rd base. Roaches now trying to run into this location here. Roaches now going to go up onto the high ground, and not sure what exactly they're talking about, as the Roaches and the Zerglings are hiding off over here, and they're not going to really be able to do much. In comes the Marines now. In comes some fungal growth, some more chain fungal growth still, as the Roaches and the Zerglings trying to engage here, and this is not looking good. Oh, a fungal growth from the low ground, though, and Kaz getting in a lot more damage than he should have in that engagement, or taking a lot more damage, and for some reason mad at his own siege tank, took one down there. Down goes another siege tank, as the units, both sides are just trading units, and this is no longer any good for Kaz, or sorry, no longer any good for Nerchio, as Nerchio has fallen very far behind. 2 medevacs with not much. Roaches now simply running away, as Kaz just slowly macroing his way to victory. 1,500 resources in the bank. Nerchio having no real way to spend it. The Marines are now upgraded 2-2 against the Zerglings 1-1 with 3-3 upgrades, about a third of the way completed. Command centers are being built across the map still. Kaz perhaps going to get a command center and more orbital commands. A lot of energy on these command centers, or these orbital commands, and he should be able to just start calling in mules and strip mining locations if he wants to. In comes a rather large drop. 24 Marines gonna finish off this hatchery, and you can see there it goes in just a matter of seconds. Drones making it over just in time to see that hatchery get destroyed. Infestors now coming in. There's the fungal growth, more fungal growth coming in, and Infestor is doing a great job trying to slow down this group, but I believe the sheer number of Kaz may simply be too much. Zerglings now trying to swarm in, a Queen now joining in on the fight, some Marines up on the high ground, as well as a large engagement in the center portion of the map, and there is the GG by Nerchio. Nerchio losing Game 4 in this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.